We have an NHL trade that's taking place between the Penguins and the Wild. We'll jump into the details coming up next. So welcome back to another video here at Top Shelf Hockey. I thought we were done doing videos here for the day, but apparently the NHL has decided we have some more news to discuss. We have a trade between the Penguins and the Minnesota Wild. Now, this is not the trade that we've been talking about and speculating about. There's been a lot of linkage between these two teams. Seeing as that Wild GM Bill Guerin used to work for the Penguins, and there's several players on either side that could be helpful to either one's roster. It's a minor trade. We do have center iceman from the Penguins, Nick Bjugstad, going to the Minnesota Wild. Of course, a lot of links for him to the state of Minnesota. He has been traded in exchange for a conditional 7th round pick. Yes, that's it. A conditional 7th round pick. We're still trying to confirm exactly what the conditions are on the 7th round pick. I wouldn't be surprised if it's linked to games played because Nick Bjugstad is coming off a pretty significant back surgery. He is reportedly healthy and able to play, so that's good news for himself and Minnesota. We know the Minnesota Wild has been really looking for help at the center ice position. Now, this is not the number one center, obviously, that they've been rumored to be looking for. Bjugstad's probably more of a number 3 center on most teams and probably would be with the Wild here as well. I'm not sure how productive he can be. Obviously, we'll see how he is after having that major surgery. Obviously, he's a really big guy coming to the league with a lot of promise, but it goes to show you just how much his value has changed. Now, the Penguins also retained half of his salary as well. So he was traded with 50% retained, and they only get a conditional 7th round pick back. So this was clearly a salary dump on Pittsburgh's part, and Minnesota willing to take a chance on him on his final year of his contract for potential for a number 3 center to go into their roster. I mean, it could pay off. Really, for what they're giving up for him and only paying half his income for 1 year, it's a pretty low-risk move by the Minnesota Wild. If it works out, it works out. If it doesn't, well, they gave up basically nothing and are only going to end up paying him, half of his salary. His income is actually $5.25 million. His cap hit is 4.1. So and Pittsburgh's retaining 50% of that. So really, pretty small price to pay. The Minnesota Wild are one of the teams that do have a little bit of cap space to work with, and obviously don't mind using some of that space to go out and acquire other assets that can help them here. Hopefully help them in the future. There's been other links to these two teams talking trade, possibly Matt Murray going to Minnesota. That's been a big one that's been talked about as well. So when I seen there was a trade between Pittsburgh and Minnesota, couldn't help but wonder if it might be a bigger deal, but obviously this one turns out to be relatively minor. But obviously with that being another cap dump from Pittsburgh, I'm sure Jim Rutherford's got other things he's working on, so clearly he's not done. There's going to be more coming from them, and I expect more out of Minnesota as well as we kind of just start a little bit to get into the chaotic part of the offseason, which will officially have free agency kick in on October the 9th, which we confirmed earlier today. So obviously we have some smaller trades taking place. We could have some more significant ones because all the teams that are out can certainly take part in that. There's only 4 teams left. So we're getting into that silly season where we see more trade activity, and we're not too far away from free agency as well. So let me know your thoughts on this trade. Nick Bjugstad going to the Minnesota Wild with 50% retained, basically for nothing. So let me know your thoughts down in the comments and we'll discuss further. If you're new to the channel, consider subscribing and turning on your notifications so you don't miss any future content, and we'll keep you up to date with all the latest news around the NHL. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you next time.